Check this out. Will Smith, All Out Show Breakdown. It's all happening. So Will Smith is back making the rounds again, pushing his new film, Emancipation. It's all about a runaway slave. Jude and I talked about this on a recent All Out Show Breakdown segment. Jude had a lot to say about this, a lot to say about Will Smith, one of his more controversial takes in my opinion. So we're gonna rock with that as we rock into Christmas Day. But first, major thank you to all the analysts who have donated to this link tree, helping to support this mission each week. It's priceless. I say it all the time. It means the world to me. If you'd like to help support this channel, help forward this mission, click the link in the description. Without further ado, here's Jude and I talking about Will Smith.
And now, here's the breakdown with Justin Hunte.
Justin Hunte, we already introduced him. He got blindsided.
Yo, that was good.
Topic. It's not that bad, right? Like, I'm prepared and kind of having to fucking think on your fucking like, shit, I am not prepared for this. Let's go.
right. I feel like I was you. I feel like I was in devil's advocate mode sometimes. I'm like, okay, well, let's not forget Michael Jackson. No, I'm joking.
Sometimes making a statement that you don't think fully about, it allows people to debate it in a different way that helps you understand it even better. You know, they say you make some hot fucking take, as they say, and they push back, and you're like, oh yeah, you're right. I didn't think about that.
Right.
We're talking Will Smith.
Will Smith again. Will Smith, he's back in the news. He's back talking.
Yes, he is. There he goes.
Will Smith is back talking. He was on The Daily Show with Trevor Noah. And Will Smith has a movie coming out. It's called Emancipation. He plays the slave person who's running away. Yeah. You know, so he's doing that thing. And
that's an Oscar shit. You know what I mean? It's late. They're gonna drop it late in the fucking season. This is an Oscar push, correct?
I mean, I think so. I don't know how much luck he's gonna have, but
I thought he should have waited a year, bro. I was like, man, you need to just shelf that. If Apple's trying to get an Oscar, just y'all got enough money.
Yeah,
and push it next year, man.
And I honestly, I don't know the appetite for slave movies no more. To be honest, you know what I mean? Like, am I excited to go see another slave movie? No, bro. Django 2. I'd watch Django 2. You know, it better be funny. He better win. Yeah. You know,
bro, that shit went dumb. I know. I remember going to see 12 Years a Slave, and that was like kind of at the how long ago was that? Like
maybe 12 years ago.
Yeah, 12 years ago. And man, any genre, it gets really exhausting, but seeing something like that is so taxing for everybody. You're like, okay, man, like, all right. Like, just like you said, just give me some Django, man. I already said, like, I can't.
You know what I mean? So, but
yeah, anyway. Man, dude, I was up in the theater. They looking at me like I stole something or something. I'm like, yo, bro, like, my people in Italy, man, like, hey, I'm just watching it too. I want to see.
I heard it was good.
Yeah, I'm curious to see the take on this. That's it.
That's so funny. So, but yeah, so he's making his Oscar push, and so he has to talk about the film, of course, and you know, of course, he can't avoid talking about slapping Chris Rock at last year's Oscars. And so he went to the Daily Show, very friendly conversation, you know, very friendly room, and we have a couple.
They're all on his side, bro. Like there's gonna be no pushback whatsoever.
Zero pushback. It was none.
Really?
But we have a clip here where Will sort of explains his mindset before he slapped Chris Rock. He doesn't explain why he did it in detail, but he talks about his mindset, and then he talks about one of the reactions he had from his nephew. So we have a clip of that here.
All right, let's go.
I'm sorry, Justin. Which clip is that? Which one? Number?
The second one.
All right.
It's the second one, John. Get your shit right.
I understand, you know, how shocking that was for people, man.
Right.
You know, on that stage.
You seemed a little dazed afterwards. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I was gone, dude. I was gone. You know, that was a rage that had been bottled for a really long time.
Right.
And, you know, but I understand the pain, you know. It was like my nephew, Dom, is 9, and he is the sweetest little boy. He's like, You know, we came home and it's like he had stayed up late to see his Uncle Will, you know, and we're sitting in my kitchen and he's on my lap and he's holding the Oscar. And he's just like, why did you hit that man, Uncle Will? You know, damn it. Why are you trying to Oprah me?
That's good, Josh.
Why did you hit that man, Uncle Will? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, man. You know, and
but
so
I got opinions. But I'll fall back and let you hop in first with yours. What do you think of this?
I mean, you know, if anyone's actually seen it, and maybe you should, I'm not sure if you've seen this, Jude, but there's a couple of times, like very early in the conversation, he pulls out a tissue and he's like dotting his eyes like throughout the conversation as if he's about to cry. Right. That's why he says that right there at the end. Right there at the end, he says, why are you trying to Oprah me? Right. That was the third time where in the conversation where he, you know, I guess he's fighting back tears. I'm not sure how real that was. So, you know, so to me, it's a little, you know, affected the way he's talking about this stuff. I don't know if I necessarily, you know, I generally take Will as a sincere person. For some reason, this one didn't hit me like that. You know,
yo, man, Will Smith just fucking kills me, man. Cause we all rooted for him, man. Like, this is before rap music and hip hop or whatever the fuck you want to call it was mainstream. It was really, there'd be like 2 or 3 hits a year, and it was like 2 or 3 crossover hits. And then even if you did crossover, you got shit on for crossing over.
Right.
So that's how fucking rare it was. So to see this guy on NBC, I believe, or ABC, I forgot, just on a sitcom, and then build his way into like this fucking giant movie star, and then watch him crumble as he's been slowly emasculated for 20 fucking years in a row, kills me. And now he's a weird, he's not even like a human anymore, dog.
Yeah,
like,
man. It's weird.
You can't even, like, he's batting his eyes and tapping that shit, you know, like, yeah, you can't even trust none of that. And people want to, too. Like, people gave me pushback, or I keep saying pushback, but people talk shit when I was criticizing his hostage video apology. Where he looks totally contrived. He had, like, yo, bro, he doesn't own none of this shit. When I remember I used to fight with my girl, and I'd be like, yo, when you do this, that shit fucks me up. It hurts my feelings. I'm mad sensitive. Don't do that motherfucking shit. And she'd be like, what? I don't understand. Like, if they never cop to it, so you don't know if they understand, you know, in a weird passive-aggressive way. Like a bitch. He's turned into a fucking bitch. You smacked him in the fucking head. Apologize.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like,
now I reached out to him and this. No, fucking look, man, I was deep wrong.
Right.
And then tell me why you in your fucking feelings. Own that shit too, because you and your wife put everything out there. This is not a private couple. Now you want to be private on why you smacked this dude in the fucking head?
Right.
I gotta hear about no one fucking asked if Jada was fucking your son's buddy. Y'all brought that to us. Are you on privacy? So I don't respect him, man. Like, I don't respect him. I really fucking looked up to him, and I'm seeing him just fucking crumble. Hey, just be like, hey, man, me and my wife been having a tough time of it. I was laughing. I look over. She gave me a look. I didn't know what to do, so I went and smacked him. I'd have rather heard that. You know, like, say that. And he can even, like, she didn't mean it that way, but I didn't know what to do. At least that way you can you can say what the fuck we already know. She got you on a goddamn leash. She walking you like a fucking dog. Half a man-ass dude. So that really bothered me.
Yeah, you know, another thing that he says in this conversation on The Daily Show is that he really believes that this is a great movie he's putting out, and he would hate for, you know, the Antoine Fuqua, I think it is, and whoever else is working on it, for them not to get awards, Oscar wins because of his actions. The thing I think about most about him smacking Chris Rock that night was, like, that was a pioneering night for the Oscars. It was the first time they had a black production company put that together. right? Will Packer and his production company were the people who produced that event. You know what I mean? And so he, in my opinion, it was way more than just whatever's going on with him and his wife that took place in that moment. Like, he ruined a big night for a lot of people to me. And I haven't heard that apology. I'm not saying he hasn't, but I haven't really heard that apology either.
No one even touches on that. And I'm gonna go even further because I'm white, bro. So I get to see things from a different light. Here is black people are a minority group in America. We've been having fucking social unrest because there's so much racial tension and black people feel like they're being treated unfairly, targeted for being violent and such. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, it's fair. I think it's fair.
All right. So here's the thing that people don't think about. You're trying to, these marches are saying to people that they believe are unfairly viewing them in an unfair light. They're trying to change the minds of white people that aren't around black people. So it's kind of a bad look for your whole deal to have. And what else? Jada and Will, they came with the Oscars so white. They're pushing racial issues into the Oscars. So when you go up on stage and smack another fucking black dude in his head for no fucking reason, real talk, like, he didn't threaten it. That's what those jokes he cracked are jokes that every fucking person has cracked on every artist since any award show. It's not that deep, dog.
Right.
So when he did that, I want people to think about this. What do you think somebody in the middle of fucking nowhere that doesn't really have interaction with black people, what do you think they took away from that?
Chris Rock had a joke in, I think it was Bring the Pain, one of his first comedy specials. He was talking about how Marion Barry was the mayor of DC at one time, and he got caught smoking crack. And the joke is, even in our finest hour, we got a crackhead on stage. And I just thought that was so ironic because even in our shining moment, Will Smith getting his, Best Actor award finally, Denzel and all these people, Samuel L. Jackson, I think, all these guys are getting awards. It's a black production over here. In our finest hour, it's the Fresh Prince smacking Pookie. You know what I mean?
I know, dog. I know.
It's terrible. It's a terrible, terrible look. And so I don't know if I'm not sure if I've seen accountability from Will on this.
That's what I'm screaming, dog. Like, it's bigger than the smack. You know what I mean? To me, it's bigger than the smack. Like, you have to be self-aware. If you're pushing something, hey, don't fucking play into the very stereotype that you do not like being treated as. And people in the community check this shit. Like, yo, bro, like, we with you, but you can't be smacking. You can't rush the stage and fire on somebody, dog.
I mean,
it's pretty bad.
The community was fractured on that, though. A lot of people are like, man, he was talking about his wife. Of course he should have smacked him. I'm like, come on, man. Maybe smack him at the after party. Maybe smack him backstage. You know what I'm saying? Like
that. But like, that's what I'm screaming, dog. There's a certain decorum that one needs to follow in certain spaces. Whether you're in the hood or in a fucking fancy spot, there's a certain way that you behave. And you need to adjust for that, especially if you're being watched by fucking the world. And people that are saying that, oh man, he's talking about his wife. Yeah, I hear you, man. Right. Sometimes you gotta fucking, I hear you, bro. I hear you. You need to lay the fuck back. Sorry, man. You rushed the stage and smacked somebody over words, a corny ass joke at that. Like, and you was laughing too. You smacked that man because your wife told you to. Your wife that's fucking other men and bragging about it, talking about how you whack in bed, filming you in the morning, shitting on you, trying to use your pain to plug her fucking red table thing, and then you go smack a man. That's the problem I have with that whole deal. It's like there were so many pieces to that. There's so many pieces to that.
And now he's playing slave.
Yeah, and like I think people don't always think about optics and how shit looks to other people that don't truly understand them. And I think that needs to be handled more. And he's a prime example. Like, yo, dog.
You know,
what message did you send to somebody that doesn't know anything about you, dog? What message did you send?
You know, and one thing that, you know, in the Daily Show interview, you know, again, it was a very friendly conversation, right? And Trevor Noah says, you know, I know everyone's like, oh, why would Will do this at the Oscars? And then Trevor says again, well, you know, it's the Oscars for you guys. For Will, it's just a cookout, right? It's just a cookout. You know, he's been in that environment so many times.
I'm not gonna.
I don't think that's a good excuse. I don't think that's a good excuse.
That's patronizing as fuck. And I don't even like his little fucking look or voice, looking like a little tiny fucking stud dyke. Like, fuck this dude, man. I don't like him. He needs to shut the fuck up. And he should have pushed Will instead of just sat there and like gave him some little, well, you know, coming up with excuses. It might be like a fucking barbecue to Will, but it's not like a barbecue to everybody else because you're in a fucking tuxedo and shit.
Right.
Don't cheapen it like that. We got some callers. 888-742-3345. 888-742-3345.
I've got Rudy in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Rudy.
Yo, what's up?
Chilling, man. Go ahead.
Man, I'm with you 100%. I used to rock with Will. I mean, even when he was doing his Instagram thing, when he used to walk around and give these affirmations and shit like that. And it got me through some stuff, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But this dude at this point is he's a clown at this point. Everybody loved Will. Everybody,
dog.
He did that night, and I'm in the industry a little bit. I can't say too much, but what he did that night fucked up everything for everybody. And this is how fucked up it was, yo. I just realized a couple of weeks ago that Danny Glover won an award that night. I didn't even know.
Wait, I didn't know that.
I really didn't know.
What did he win an award for?
I think for something like Best Supporting Actor or something like that. Or something.
You gotta be kidding me, dog.
I don't even know. My girl told me, she was like, and the Danny, I was like, when did Danny Glover win this year? I was like, when? The night Will smacked? I said, what? That's how messed up he messed up for everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody. I mean, the black director thing, that's one thing, but everybody.
Yo, was that Danny Glover's first Oscar? Or had he?
Yeah.
Bro, here's Danny Glover. Fucking Purple Rain or Color Purple ass. You want to fight him, Danny Glover, all the way to fucking Lethal Weapon. This dude is just a beast. And he finally gets his props.
And I'm going to tell you this. Other people might disagree with me. That King Richard movie, he wasn't that great. That movie wasn't that great.
I got me too.
It really wasn't. It really wasn't. Like, what he won for that?
Bro,
no.
That's that complaining ass shit, man. He might have had some great ass parts back in the day, but there's been many a times where somebody deserving, they give him, even, you know, Denzel, he was like, you know, I should have won this for a couple other ones when he finally, like, Glory was.
Everything else, yep.
Yo,
Glory.
but like, I get even Pacino, he finally gets one for, like, he gets like Son of a Woman type shit. Like, but so that was a complaining Oscar. They're like, here, man, just take this shit and leave us alone, man.
Right. Leave us alone.
You're in the industry a bit. You're in the industry. What was the vibe like that you got with people talking under their breath?
This is how it was. My people were, I think, in Barbados or somewhere. I can't remember, but they were out of the country, and they called me and was like, "Did Will smack Chris Rock?" And I wasn't even watching. I was like, "What are you talking about?" On the Oscars. Oh, I don't watch the Oscars. I turned it on. My daughter is texting me. People are texting, "Did you see that? Did you see that?" I'm like, "What?" And so, you know, like everybody else, had to go to YouTube and see the unedited version and all this.
So, but
stuff.
What did your industry friends say afterwards? I mean, like, what did you hear anything from them? Like, were there murmurs?
Honestly, without saying no names.
Yeah. No, I don't need that. I just want to hear the vibe.
Fuck him. You smacked Chris Rock. And if you're in the industry, I mean, you got to know something. Somebody.
Yeah, I understand the way shit works. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But Chris Rock, everybody loves Chris Rock. And like you said, it was a corny ass joke. He was laughing about it. Everybody laughed about it. Blah, blah, blah. But for him to do that, and then for Trevor, oh, it was a cookout. No, motherfucker, that's the Oscars.
Right.
That's not a cookout. And those white people are not going to forget that. Ever.
No.
Ever.
No.
That is their thing. Listen, yo, we done took I'm just saying, we done took everything from football, basketball, baseball, country music.
We still got hockey. I don't watch it, but we still got hockey.
Barely. Y'all barely got hockey.
The last thing they had was the movie industry, was the Oscars. That's the last thing they had. And you go up there and you ruin it for the next 10, 15 years. That's all people are going to talk about. Period.
Hey man,
they gonna wait for the next month to walk up there and smack somebody,
bro. But like on the surface, nothing's gonna change. But in the back of a lot of these motherfuckers' minds, it's just gonna be like clink clink. I knew it. Like they ain't gonna say shit. They'll still give out awards, but trust, there's gonna be a bigger divide. And the other thing too is the lack of criticism from the black community about this and addressing it makes that divide even bigger.
When they did come out. They were coming out and then they were stepping back.
Yes.
And then when they got it, and when people asked them about it, I know Chris and I know Will, it was wrong. No, man, that was y'all. Listen, I'm telling you, he screwed that up for everybody.
Yeah,
that
man.
Shit will never happen again. Period. Ever. And then the way that he and his people maneuvered it, we're going to resign and blah, blah, blah. You took away their way. You took away their way to punish you. You took it away.
Give back the Oscar if you feel that bad, man. You know that movie was trash anyway, bro. Like, stop. Thank you. Just what do you think about hearing from an industry dude on that kind of?
I mean, he's 100% correct as far as I'm concerned. I mean, the industry reaction was so wishy-washy, Yeah,
man. No stance.
Because, I mean, and look, there's also a lot of different things at play, when it comes to how people's just general reaction to seeing that and maybe the motivations behind it. This is also a very, protect women kind of time or protect your family kind of thing. This is King Richard. The movie he's in is about a strong father who's protecting his family. These are just different narratives that I saw going around that I guess tried to make people justify it, but it's unjustifiable.
But here's the thing, man. Like I get getting each other's back, but they're also like if you can't criticize each other either, how do we fucking do things? Like brothers couldn't even be like, what the fuck was that? Because they get called all types of fucking names and sellouts and shit. And it's like, nah, bro, like some shit we got to be like, hey, boop, 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 pump the brakes. They was quick to throw other cats under the bus. They quick to burn other people down. That's a threat to the system that they work in. But when a dude is just fucking shit up for everybody, they don't say a goddamn thing.
Right.
Who else we got?
I've got somebody who wants to ride for Will Smith.
Go ahead, ride for. Thank you. I got a ride for Will, man. My man,
Kareem in Arizona.
Kareem, fuck yeah, get on here, man. How you doing, Kareem?
Yo, Jude, I appreciate you, brother, man. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah.
I just want to say real quick, man, like, I hear what everybody's saying about Will, but to be honest, bro, I hear what you're saying, Jude. Like, I love Will, but I didn't really have a problem with what he did, man. I'm going to tell everybody why. We're in a society nowadays where people can say what they want, do what they want with no repercussions, bro. Like, I'm an actor, so that's what I do, and I'm telling you. So people tend to do these things with no repercussions. Was it a punk joke? Yes. But, I mean, at the end of the day, bro, you don't play with people's wives. Like, that's one thing I would never do. Like, even as a comedian, I'm not playing with your wife unless we at a comedy show. Because all the comedians...
That was a comedy show.
That's a fucking comedy thing, dog. And his wife ain't precious. His wife ain't like this fucking kind mother of kids that don't do no shit. She's out here talking about fucking other dudes. Like, it's a different vibe, dog. But go on, I'm listening.
Saying, but a lot of that is coming from Jada, though. We don't really hear Will Smith like,
own it.
Like, I never really heard him talking about that. That's his wife, bro.
Check
like,
your wife, bro.
Our place.
Don't check dudes. Check your wife.
Chris Rock was wrong. Chris Rock
bro.
was wrong, bro. If we in the street, let's put it like this: if we out somewhere in the street and we sitting somewhere at an event, and somebody say something, whoever, about your wife, bro, it's gonna be a problem, bro. People.
Let me ask you something.
There's no consequences.
Let me ask.
Yes, sir.
Are you a religious man?
I am. Yeah.
You go to church and shit, or do you got respect for like? Is there?
I'm not gonna lie. I've been backsliding, so you might need to lay hands on me.
All right. No. That's not even. I just want you to picture someplace that you really respect, and there's certain rules that you have to follow to be part of that place. Does that make sense? Picture that, and then picture somebody saying something corny to you that you don't appreciate. And even if you got a fucking awesome wife, not a wife that's out fucking teenagers and shit like that and talking about it, you gonna fire on them right in front of the preacher? You gonna disrespect the house of God? You're gonna catch him you'll catch him outside.
Tricky, dude. Now you're
gonna catch his ass outside.
I'm not hitting nobody in church. I wouldn't hit nobody in church, but
that's what I'm saying.
If I'm anyone else, that person getting knocked out, bro. I'm sorry. Like if somebody about my woman or my girl, you getting knocked out, bro.
Look. There's a time you said if you saw him in the streets, okay, fine. This ain't the streets. This is a black tie event that is very hard to get into. That is being broadcasted to everyone, and that behavior is not acceptable. And that behavior reinforces negative fucking stereotypes, man. And it's none of it is being addressed.
You're right. You're right about that part. But like I said, man, everybody acts on emotion sometimes.
Yeah, man.
Hearing him talk about it, the dude said, man, look, dude said something about my wife at the time.
He laughed. He laughed.
That. You know what I mean?
Bro, he ain't losing.
Been there, bro.
He ain't losing. His wife gave him a look, bro. Justin, you got anything to add to this one side? I mean, to fucking hop in all over the place, but it's driving me crazy.
I don't, you know, I mean, I hear what you're saying. You know, the caller is saying, I really don't believe you. I don't think if you were at the Oscars, you're an actor and a comedian, you're at the Oscars. Chris Rock makes a joke about your wife. I don't think you're going to get up there. I think you'll treat that like it's church. I don't think you're going to get up there and smack the host in front of. I don't think the average person is going to do that. I think it takes a special kind of entitlement to do something like that. You know, you can call it age or whatever.
Not just at the Oscars. You know how fucking hard it is as an actor to grind your way all the way up into the Oscars for a nomination. You gonna do that, man? Come on, bro. Like, stop.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. I wouldn't have got. I'm originally from Chicago, y'all, so I handle things differently. I wouldn't have really smacked them on stage. I would have caught them backstage or off camera. As soon as them cameras come off, I would have shot right in the back and like, bro, I need to talk to you. Come in this dressing room.
Yeah,
perfectly acceptable. That's acceptable.
But like, hey, Chi-Town. Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Would you have your wife run around fucking everybody, talking about how you don't do shit in bed, talking about like how you don't know about the marriage, airing out all your dirty laundry? Would you do that?
Well, to be honest, I wouldn't personally be messing with a female like that. But what I'm saying is that if somebody does,
bud, that's what the fuck I'm screaming. It's bigger than this thing right here. Like you that dude. You're not gonna let your wife do that shit. He's a bitch from jump. He's on some bitch shit, dog. That from jump. Yeah. That's what you.
All I'm saying, bro,
you wouldn't even be in that situation.
To me, it's a time and place for everything, bro. Will Smith, we can all say he should have probably did it in a different setting, but Chris Rock was definitely wrong, bro. Like, you can't be making jokes about people's wives or husbands.
Yeah, dog.
It's like somebody making jokes about your kids, bro. Hold on, let's be real. Anybody that's listening, if somebody wants to joke or say something about your kid, come on, y'all. It's going to be a whole different ballgame. And some people going to look at their wives as such. You know what I mean? Like, you know, that's your wife, bro. Like, you got to
I understand that's some other of your children. I understand that's some other of your children. But she has voluntarily put herself in public. She's fair game. You know that's how it goes. You want to be in the public, you can get the fame, the money, and everything, but you also going to take shots. It's part of the fucking game. Justin don't let none of his girls be on the fucking thing. I'd never had any of my girls be on the thing. You know why? Because I don't want fucking randos taking shots at her. Because I know it's hurtful.
I definitely separate my date life from my public life.
I've seen his girls, like two of his girls, and they come up and they don't say a fucking thing, man. You know why? Because they don't want people talking to them like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So there.
Yeah, I was just speaking more, like I said, like on the response. Like I've been, I heard a lot of other comedians.
Yeah.
Like, instead of just saying, look, man, it was the wrong place, they were like, oh, well, we're comedians. We make jokes. We do this. When you go to a comedy show and sit up front, we rag on you. Yeah, but that's a comedy show, bro. I go to comedy shows
all right, man. All right. Let's just take one. I feel you. All right, man. Thank you.
He would not have smacked that day. He said, I would have done. No, he would not have. No, he would not have.
Yo, they don't have serious hosts. You know what I mean? They don't have Ted Koppel come out there and be the host. I don't even know who's serious no more. But they don't have like nine. They literally get comedians to crack jokes, man. It is a comedy thing.
Right.
Justin, how much time we got?
When he said it wasn't a comedy, I'm like, it definitely was a comedy thing. It's Chris Rock.
Yes.
Even when he's not doing comedy, it's comedy.
There's so many layers to this shit, and then to come out during award season with your crocodile tears just makes me even more disgusted in you. You don't mean none of this shit. You're broken. I feel for the man because he's been abused. This is what abuse looks like. It's almost worse than getting beat. There's no bruises here, man. This guy's an abused, henpecked man. He's broken. His wife did that to him. And now we have to look at it. And men look at it with disgust because he allowed that to happen. We should probably have some empathy for the man, but at the end of the day, you got to handle your shit.
And at least apologize. It's hard to empathize with someone who is, skating around what he did.
That's some little kid shit, bro. That's some little kid shit. And Chris Rock ain't gonna sue him or no shit. Like, because he'll look petty doing that. He ain't gonna do it. He should have just been like, look, man, I was wrong. It haunts me every day. And even claims, look, man, you see what me and my wife are going through. I didn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have took that. I've been like, damn, dog. All right, fine, fuck it. That's a step forward.
Yeah, man. I don't know.
Is there a lot of calls? Is there a lot of calls or not?
Sure.
I mean, let's just we'll do a bunch of news tomorrow and then fucking finish this shit. Because people are calling up all over the thing for this. All right. Fucking, Just, can you stick around for a second?
I'm here. I'm good.
All right, bet. Prince and Will Smith, it's like the fucking 80s all over again. Let's keep it pushing.
Got Karim in Arizona.
Go ahead, Karim. You answer. Just I'm gonna lay back on this one. I'll come.
Let's go.
All right, y'all good. What was the question, Jude?
No, I said whatever statement you have, I'm gonna shut the fuck up and let Justin handle. Yeah.
Oh no, wait a minute. Sorry, I went to the wrong call.
Oh, sorry.
Let's go with
sorry.
Thanks, Karim. All right, let's go with Aubrey in Miami.
Shout out to Karim too.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Aubrey.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're on.
All right, for sure. So I got a little pushback for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, number one, I feel like, why are we holding Will Smith so accountable for everybody else? Like, these other guys that got awards, that did like, the whole Oscars or whatever, they got there off their own strength of being there. It wasn't Will Smith that got them there. You know what I'm saying? Like, they got there on their own strength. So, like, why are we sitting here putting Will Smith on the fucking pedestal like he's perfect, like he hasn't made any mistakes, like whatever, right? When these other people have done everything that they were supposed to do to make it where they're at outside of Will Smith. It's not
what do you mean by that? I'm trying to follow you. What like who are you talking about? What have they done? Or I don't think we gave anybody credit, but go on.
Yeah, like we were talking about the guy. I mean, the other caller was talking about the guy that was like director over the entire Oscars and how he was first black whatever director of the Oscars, whatever. Like it's not like that guy should not be Will Smith should not be responsible at all for anything else but what Will Smith has done. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't put everything on Will Smith's shoulders to say, oh well, he's responsible. It's his fault at the end of the day for all what comes next. Like, no, like Will Smith made a mistake, right? He was overly emotional at the time about something that somebody said about his wife. You know what I'm saying? And he acted on it. But let's not sit here and act like there's other people that have not reacted over the top for shit that's less.
Not at the Oscars, bro.
Not at the Oscars.
Not at the Oscars, man. That's the problem. Go ahead, just
the biggest issue is that, all things considered, one thing went wrong at that Oscars: Will Smith. So everything else, regardless of the successes of how great of a story it is about Danny Glover or Samuel L. Jackson, or how much of a celebration of a great opportunity it was for Will Packer and those guys, nobody got a chance to revel in that. We were sitting here watching it because Will Smith decided to
months later, bro. Right. Almost a year later, we talking about this shit.
So it's like that to me is disrespectful for all the other hard work. Like, this is a day of celebration. You know, for everybody from the production team to the actors themselves are celebrating a pioneering experience. And here go Will Smith smacking the host of the show because he got sensitive. You know,
so it's almost
like that's where the problem is.
So just what I'm hearing,
other people's moments.
It's like almost a selfish thing that, like, his behavior ended up being very selfish because it overshadowed all of these moments. And then here's the other thing too. Look, I don't care about, like, I'm not concerned with milestones. I don't care. I didn't even know there was a black dude. Mm-hmm. But people do care that it's a black dude. So here's this director's chance to do some fucking awesome shit and make a statement. And unfortunately, Will shit the bed on his fucking watch. So now he's connected to it. Now you get to say the first black fucking Oscars, there was an assault on stage.
Right.
That's the legacy. Like it or not. You know, it's not what happened, it's how it's fucking told. And that was the optics. I didn't even know it was a black dude that was running the shit. Mm-hmm. So now it looks even worse in my eyes. I'm like, God damn, dog. Like, really? You did it on a fucking stop it. So it's not like he just wasn't acting in the team. There was all these pivotal fucking moments, and he just fucked it up for everybody, is what it looks like to me. Some of y'all riding for him, but the fact that you have to ride for him is a problem.
I don't understand. I didn't really understand that comment either. You know, it took a long time to really understand what the caller was saying on that.
Yeah. Look, I finally got there once he like redid it, but like I think he was saying like all these people got there on their own, so Will's not responsible for them, and I hear that. But if you're gonna make a big moment out of all this shit, everybody's responsible for each other. You're almost on a team. You're like, all right, man, we're doing this for our culture. Well, look what happened.
Right.
How does that look to other people that don't know your culture? Not you. Picture someone where you're trying to fucking sway their way they think in fucking the middle of Oklahoma, way off somewhere. How do you think that looked? And I feel like we don't do that enough, man. We don't be like, yo, dog, how's this look to other people, man? Especially when a complaint is people view you how you aren't.
Yeah, man. You know, it's I feel like it was a very entitled thing to me to feel like, you know,
Hollywood ass shit, bro. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, man.
So
yes.
Entitled.
I mean, and like that, and then the Oscars went out like some bitches too. They should have kicked his ass the fuck out, man. Who like, yo, you can't rush the stage and smack somebody and then go back in your seat, have another drink and win an award. What message is that sending?
Right. Right. Yeah, man.
Like, that's a bad look for everyone, man. And them cats want to be racial. You think a white dude would have been able to smack Chris Rock in his head and then go sit down and enjoy his shit and win a fucking award?
I mean, yeah, I don't think that would work.
I don't think so. I don't think so. So that makes other people looking like, oh, they handling this dude with kid gloves.
I don't know. Who knows, man? It's hard to really call it. I'll say that because Oscar's got a history of a whole bunch of crazy white people getting up there saying all kinds of racial stuff over the years. You know?
Yeah, but
they're what's his name? What's the dude? John Wayne never got in trouble for all the anti-indigenous stuff he was saying up there. So, you know,
look, man,
is that different than smacking someone? Yes, it is. Different than smacking someone.
Can we agree? We can't judge past times with our views now because we know what they don't know. We have to look at how people behave, like what that was in that context. And unfortunately, people aren't able to look at what happens in a historical context. What else is going on at that time? You might not like it, but it might have been the norm. Thus, we were able to change it.
Well, people were protesting like crazy in that time. And I know what you're trying to say, like from a whole macro standpoint, but just because stuff was terrible back then doesn't mean that people didn't know. Like they do. John Wayne knew what he was saying and why.
I don't know what the fuck he said. Look, I don't know what he said, so I can't really address it. I'm gonna be real with you.
Cool.
But did he smack the host?
Yeah, no, I haven't seen him.
Did he assault somebody?
I haven't seen him
put hands. What's worse, words or hands? You know what I mean? Like the law says, putting hands on somebody is worse. It's not treated like that in the social structure, but the law says that. They go smack an indigenous man. Like, I don't know. Like, fuck me.
Right.
But if you got to go back to the 60s and pull up John Wayne.
I don't know. There's plenty more, but there's plenty more, but we don't want to use this whole segment. We don't want to use this segment.
No, yeah. We don't want to get
of being
look, but like
pretty messed up.
Here's the deal. White people check him. White people disavow that shit.
Decades later.
They still do it. You don't know there's protests. You already seen it. He was on his way out.
Those were white people protesting. those everybody else protested.
Those were white people protesting John Wayne, right?
No. John Wayne still got his award.
I don't want to get bogged down.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I think it's a false equivalency, man.
Well, I really do. Well, I definitely don't think that, we can also make the assumption that if a white dude got out there and smacked Chris Rock, whether or not he would have still been able to stay and get his award. I don't think we could say that. Like, I almost think
I'd bet money on that. I'd be willing to bet money. It's an assumption, but just watching the patterns that I get to see, I'd bet money on that one.
I think that all of that is inside baseball. I think that's all of that's inside baseball. I don't think anything like that would have. He would have definitely had his seat. He definitely got his award.
Okay.
And
but,
this is you never know. You never know.
Sure, yeah. All right, man. Yeah. Me and you can argue over that left and right, and it's missing the point. So you're right.
Right.
You're right. I don't believe it, but yeah, you're right. Fine. Who's next, man?
Doreen in Georgia.
Doreen.
Yes, I'm here. So
come on in. It's nice to hear a lady.
That's why I wanted to chime in. So I'm a black woman. I have a black husband. There's a code of ethics between my husband and I. Okay. If we're out in public or we're out at an engagement or whatever, and my husband says something that I find off color or inappropriate, and it's towards me, we'll handle that in private at home, because I'm not going to ask my husband to put himself in danger. And we have a code of ethics. I can look at my husband from across the room, and we can lock eyes, and it's already understood, whatever it is. But when we get into a public setting, and depending on the reason that we're there, whatever it is, especially if there's alcohol involved, or if say we've gotten into an argument before we left the house, and I have an attitude, but we're expected to be someplace, and things aren't right between us. Nobody's going to know that when we step out that door, because we're as a united front, and that's how it has to be. Because publicly, as a black couple, people are looking at us differently. It took, the Oscars have been on TV for 69 years now. Yeah. And finally there's a black production crew that does this. There's a responsibility for everybody involved that's black. And that's just the way it is. I tell my children, my mother told me, you have to be better. You have to do better. I'm always expecting more from you. That's just how it is. We start to win, they move the finish line. That's just life. But I feel like Will Smith had a tantrum. It was very selfish and inconsiderate for everybody involved. And he should be embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. As a black woman, as a wife, I was embarrassed. My husband and I have a very traditional relationship. I understand that the Smiths do not. But there still has to be some type of accountability as a black woman. She should never put her husband in that position. What would have happened if her? So she'd rather risk her husband getting dragged off in L.A. by the cops. That makes no sense. It takes me back to when I saw Cardi at some studio and they were going to get Offset, and she nutted up. I don't know how the relationship is, but she showed up for her man. Jada has never showed up for Will, and she continues not to show up for him. And that's what pissed me off.
As a matter of fact,
pissed me off.
She low-key tears him down. I think she's jealous of his success as far as what I can see. She's an entertainer and her man's a superstar. Every time she says some shit, it's like a low-key dig. And I can't even imagine.
She sabotages him.
Yeah.
She is literally sleeping with the enemy. She's a saboteur. She's a saboteur.
And Justin, you came from a good-ass family, man. And I feel like sometimes you don't even appreciate it because I came from a fucked up family and it fucks you up. So like when the parents are divided and there's disrespect going back and forth, you don't feel safe. You feel it makes you feel weird. So speaking to this, what's your name again, Miss?
It's Doreen.
Speaking to Doreen about fucking tradition and locking shit up, like I think that's valued. I feel like people that grew up in a broken home value it even more than people that grew up in a good ass home because they've seen the other side.
I think people think just because you're wealthy and there's money involved that there's no dysfunction. Dysfunction has no price tag. And that's what people have to understand. You can't put a price on this dysfunctionality. And the saddest thing with all of this is, not only did he go up and violate another black man publicly, he wasn't taken to jail. Because as you said, if it was a white man, people would have been marching, screaming, and hollering. But we've become so customized to the black-on-black crime and black-on-black violence. And that is so sad. That's so upsetting because it wasn't okay. I don't care. You can take it and make it, at a high school graduation and one man smacks another black man. I don't care if it's the Oscars. It's still wrong. It's still wrong. It's still black violence. And nobody's up in arms like they should be behind it.
Yeah. And let me correct I don't care about the fairness about it. Like, oh, if I was white, I'm addressing the fact that since it isn't addressed, like you said, it's fucking black people up. I don't give a fuck. Like, you're not holding him accountable. Like, that's fucking him up. They think they're being nice, but he's got no consequences happen to this man. So how do we know that behavior is going to be curbed? And you make a really good point about money. And even if you do come from a traditional family and have money, it can be fucked up. So you got to really be working together too. I hope you have a bunch of kids. I really do. How many kids you got?
I do.
You keep having.
I have 8, and I have 8 kids, and I have five serving in the military.
Have 10 more, goddammit. I love the way you think. I swear to God, I love the way you think.
We are so done. But that's what I was going to say. If I get a phone call that my child smacked the shit out of somebody, I'm not going to bring him home and give him a PS5. Like, good job. No.
Right.
Unless he was sticking up for himself and they put hands on him. That's a whole different thing.
Yes, yeah. That's different. But that Oscar they gave him is tainted, and it will never represent what it should have.
Ooh. Jeff.
All facts. Big facts. All facts.
She went
all
in,
facts.
bro. Like,
yeah.
Fuck me.
That was a great breakdown. Yeah.
She really, man, I bet you her and her husband are just fucking great. So funny.
Yeah. She got 8 kids. I mean, that's a team.
And she brought up a really good point about having a united front in public. My grandma had that. People have this idea that, if a woman is this, then she's subservient. And it's not even that thing, It's like everybody's playing their part. And yo, my grandma would give my grandfather a look, and he'd be like, "All right, we got to go."
Right? Yeah.
Like, it doesn't mean a woman doesn't have a fucking say, but she lets the dude be the fucking dude. Please believe them women were strong, and they would give a motherfucker a look like, "Hey man, we out." The same way Jada gave him a look, and he was like, "Okay, I'll go smack him." You know, like, when it's used properly, it's a very strong thing, man.
Yeah.
I think we've lost that. We've lost that. She ain't lying, man. Just like, hey man, you better chill that shit out. What you talking to that motherfucker? Like, give him a look. You stop talking to him.
Right.
Fuck over here. You don't check each other in public. You don't call each other's names in public. You don't complain about each other in public. I like her style, man.
Yeah,
and
man.
I've done the opposite. I've done the opposite and suffered. I bet you have too, man. Aired out your dirty laundry, been disrespectful to chicks that you dating.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely did one time, and I never did it again. You know what I mean?
Oh man, yeah.
It only took one time for me to realize, okay, this isn't going to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Like you can't.
Like you said, I didn't grow up with that kind of influence in my house. That's not how I grew up. You know what I mean? And so, you know, you spend time with the wrong one.
Yep.
You can figure that. You can figure it out pretty fast.
And
now you're making choices.
I think a lot of cats that came from really good families and nuclear families and shit like that, they don't want to seem judgmental. So they don't judge certain actions and try to like be like, you know, but trust. There wasn't a dad around and like, you know, a ton of broken homes and all that shit. And I used to think all that nuclear family shit was corny as fuck, but I'm 45 and never lived with a woman with a drug habit and can't fucking, and all of it's my own fault, but shit, I didn't even know how to have a relationship, dog. I'm afraid to settle down. So
that's one of the things that Will Smith
I've seen that shit go bad. I've seen that shit go bad, man. So I'm like, yo, you guys are rocking for this side, but none of y'all want to live this side. And over here, you know, me and my sister are in our 40s and don't have a fucking spouse. That's not a coincidence, you know. Everybody else in my family that came from some good shit, they married, locked down.
Well, that's one of the things I think Will's been talking about. Even in that interview with Trevor Noah, he mentions how part of the reason that happened was because he saw his father beat his mother when he was a kid. You know,
man.
It sounds like he came from a broken home. I haven't read his book. I don't know his backstory. And so, you know, and I think that's part of the reason why they push their family values so heavily, you know.
That's anti-family and shit. That's the problem. Look, we were having a really tough, really kind of interesting talk yesterday on how to fix schools. And I think that we need to set some principles for ourselves, because you're not going to be able to change everything. Set principles, live by those fucking principles, and apply that in your life. I'm not saying don't work the fucking angles when you can or because you have to. I got principles. I got weird principles, but I live by them. And that helps me along my way to see. I don't make excuses for, that's just, that's not just. It helps me. And I think we need to do that. Come from a place where like, what's best for me, the family, the community, and go from there. Who knows? I don't know. But it just seems like every time we talk about a lot of stuff, it just goes back to everything breaking, you know?
Right.
It's really wild. Why did you do that? Why did that happen? Why did like the whys? The deeper you go, you're like, shit, man, cats are starting off broken. But I guess that's what really fucked me up, because he came from Philly. So you rooting for, like, get it, bro. You got out. You're doing it. You're fucking crossover star. He was somebody to aspire to.
Well, I think he still is. I think he still is someone that aspires. I do. Like all things considered, right now. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to minimize what he did on stage. I'm not doing that.
I'm not even talking stage, bro. No, I don't give a fuck about having on stage.
And I'm not minimizing, you know, the public persona of him and his wife either, you know. But all things considered, Will Smith's done a lot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
but at what cost?
Tell me that you can't
cost. Bro,
I don't see a cost really, except for him smacking Chris. That's the only cost I really. That's his reputation. But look at everything he's been doing. I mean, the guy is still one of the biggest stars on the planet. His kids are doing great. His kids are doing great. You know what I'm saying? Those kids are lucky that those kids are lucky they were born to two fucking superstar millionaires and they're eating off of that. I don't know if they could have made it on their own. They're doing fine, but like, look, man, that dude got no soul, bro. Does he have a soul? Is he a man? Does he have a backbone? What is the price of success worth? I can't say that, man. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess I'm not one to look at someone. I'm not somebody one to look at someone through a screen and wonder if they have a soul or not. You know, I mean, again, we're talking about Hollywood. You know, how much of this is a show anyway? You never know. You know, I've been in Hollywood long enough to know that a lot of stuff is smoke and mirrors. I'm not saying this particularly is.
I feel like
this particularly is. You know, maybe smoke and mirrors is like, you know, how great of a family they've had for so long. That looks like smoke and mirrors. But yes, Will's been looking played out for a while. But I don't think that's enough to say that, you know, he's not someone to aspire to overall. I think that. I
mean, look, be inspired by certain things, and look, everyone's human. We're fallible. That's not what I'm saying. But like, his final form right now is fucking suspect and heartbreaking. Who else is on the phone?
Suspect and heartbreaking.
I love our discussions, bro. I love our fucking discussions.
Yo, me too, man. It's amazing.
I just have a ball. All right, we got Justin, Jude. We're talking Will Smith. John ain't even saying shit, which is perfect. So who we got, John?
One last call. I got.
What's the best call? Not who's been waiting the longest.
I hear you.
Who's the best call? I know, but like sometimes you be nice and other times.
Right.
You do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Sis,
ain't nothing wrong with that.
Sis in Philly.
Sis. Hey, yo, Sis. Go ahead, man. You are on.
What's going on?
It's all you, Sis.
It's basically, man, Chris Rock is a bitch. You can't be talking about nobody's wife unless somebody beeline to the stage and you don't do nothing. What the fuck you think Will Smith was going to do after you said something about his wife? That's where I'm at with it.
Yeah,
and
but
furthermore,
we'll break it down because you saw it. Will Smith was laughing, head back, chuckling. So he might have saw him there. He might not have seen fucking the look. So Chris might have looked away and thought he was good, not even understanding, because the last thing he saw was like a laughter. Go on, I'm listening.
He thought he was good. That's my point. And plus, I heard they had history and shit.
They did. I think
he said
he was cracking slick shits about the Women's March with or some shit like that. I know that. So that's a good point.
And it was like, you showing them up on the Oscars? No, you get smacked for that. He wrote the check.
Yep.
Will Smith cashed it.
Let me tell you,
on stage at the Oscars, though, you think that's not backstage, not the after party, regardless of what previous issues they had.
He didn't even talk backstage. He cracked on her fucking shiny ass head. He ain't say shit about fucking her. Sucking her son's dick.
I bet you. This the thing too. No, ain't nobody else gonna say nothing about her head or nothing while Will Smith in the building.
Shit.
They might get smacked. They don't know. They might get smacked.
Let me ask you something.
Saying it on the radio. But
yeah, they might. I might get smacked. And
right.
He might beat the shit out of me. You know what? He's still a bitch. All what happens is I got beat up by a bitch. I couldn't outfight a broken man.
And I understand that though. But that's
I'll take my lumps and he'll walk back and put his panties back on and be a bitch. And that's the difference, bro.
You ain't gonna sit there and just get smacked though, are you? And with your hands in your pocket.
So you wanted a fist fight at the Oscars?
That's what you said.
If I had cracked the joke about your wife and you beeline toward me on the stage, I'm gonna walk backstage because I know you about to smack the shit out of me. I know what's about to happen.
Look, here's something.
I ain't about to have this on TV. We gonna do this backstage.
Think about this though. Think about this. These guys. First, I think Chris Rock was always like. I think Chris Rock's from like some middle class shit. But this dude has been around rich people for so fucking long. His behavior's nothing like we can relate to. He's not used to having people run up on him and punch him in the fucking head. Maybe back in the day, but if it doesn't happen to you for fucking 20 years, you might forget about that shit. Both of these guys are so cushy right now. We can't even wrap our heads around it. Their maids probably have maids. So his main reaction might not be to fucking square up.
Plus Chris Rock has a nonverbal learning disorder. Like he's been diagnosed with, different types of being on the spectrum. Like he doesn't even like pick up on social cues that good. You know what I mean?
That's pretty good. That's good as a comedian, dude. That's pretty fucking awesome. Like
that's actually beneficial. You can't tell when you're bombing.
That's I John ends with he should have had a fist fight on stage. But John, man, fucking So, Justin, do you think he should have had a fist fight on stage?
Absolutely not. I mean, maybe he should have, I look, honestly, I think the whole world, when they saw Will walk up, thought Will was going to do something funny, joke around or whatever. It didn't look like Will was going to walk up there and really smack somebody. I mean, we've never seen Will smack somebody.
He didn't even run up. He didn't even do like that skipping shit where he about bam and get some leverage on him. He didn't do none of that.
Right. I thought it was gonna be a joke. Maybe it was part of the show. You never know, right?
It's not. It won't be the first time. People in the crowd have a bit with people on stage. Man, they always do that, and everybody gets fucked with. And I'm tired of hearing this wife shit. And like, yo, your wife. You locked down a fucking trollop. This ain't fucking. This the mother of my kids. You don't get to say that no more, man. When people are dumping loads in the mother of your kids, and she's shitting on you in public, it's a different deal, man. This ain't like Hugh Jackman with a funny looking wife that doesn't do shit and someone's clowning on her. That's mean. She don't do she's just the mother of his kids and not the best looking lady. Start calling her out, calling her uglies. Yeah, that's fucked up. And even then, he shouldn't have rushed the fucking stage, man. She shaved her head bald. I don't even believe her disease. I just think she be picking up shit to try to be interesting, man. Honestly, I ain't never seen no alopecia like that or whatever the fuck it is. Is it alopecia, Jess?
It's alopecia. It's alopecia.
I mean, yeah, man. She looked like the bad guy at the end of the Superman movie where they put him in a fucking goddamn touchscreen iPad and chuck him into space.
Oh man, I mean,
Don't beat me up, man. Like I'm out here in the burbs.
I just don't understand any of the. I think it's weird. To me, it's just straight up weird when I hear people say, "Yeah, Will should have smacked him." I mean, Will should have smacked him on stage at the Oscars. That's just weird to me. And I don't believe anybody would. I don't believe cats would do that. I think that they're
here's
just over here. They're playing devil's advocate. They're trying to identify with something that's unidentifiable. You can't identify with this. It's one of the biggest stars on the planet at the Oscars.
This is for everybody that feels that way. I need you to really think about some shit. Like, one needs to behave differently in different environments. And if you think shit like that, maybe that mindset is keeping you from getting a promotion and stuff like that. Because if you walking around like, yeah, man, he say something I don't like, I can fuck him up. Well, it depends on where the fuck you are, man. So in this in this space, you can't do that. It's been agreed upon. Especially now, Americans are soft as fucking. We softer than ever. I think it would have gone over better in the 70s because people actually threw hands more. Like fuck.
Right.
A bunch of cookie cream puff theater major dudes up in there, man. Ain't never seen a scrap in their life. Probably scared the shit out of them. I guarantee you right now, Just, you know, some of them fucking cornballs are in therapy talking about it and how it affected them to this day, man. Like, this is where we live in. You got to adjust.
Right.
Justin, you worked in banking, you worked in hip hop, do you behave the same way everywhere?
Nope. I mean, you gotta go with whatever the environment requires. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro.
Like I can't wear the outfits I wear in hip hop in the media space to the outfits to working at a bank. You got to put on a different outfit.
Different uniforms, different everything, and it's for everybody. I went to a hippie event. It's hippies. They're all dressed the same fucking way. They all got, even hippies have uniforms. We all have uniforms to signal shit to one another, man. And there's certain behaviors that are expected in these situations.
I mean, I had an example once because I worked in country music for a while. And I went to CMA Fest in Nashville wearing a Colin Kaepernick shirt. You should have seen the eyes that people had on me. They looked at me like I was throwing everybody the middle finger. And I was like, oh, I might need to get another shirt. Let me go buy another shirt real quick. Because I'm representing an artist.
I thought you was trolling.
I didn't even think about it. You know what I'm saying? I live in LA. I didn't think about being in Nashville seems pretty progressive. You know what I mean? There was a lot of football. They like football. I like football. You know what I'm saying?
All right, John says we can't talk anymore.
Keep on track. We got other things coming.
What do we got coming?
Another show.
What time they gotta load? You fucking up, man. Goddamn, John.
Right.
We can't even discuss Kaepernick at a country concert now, man. That's some bullshit.
They looked at me like I was crazy, Jude.
Sounds like fun. Yeah.
Yo, I thought you was trolling. Like, God damn, that's a funny ass troll. But
I wasn't trolling. I was like, oh, let me get another shirt because I'm representing this artist. You know, I'm representing the label and this artist over here. Let me, calm this down a little bit. But that's how much you got to think about where you are sometimes.
So I suggest a lot of y'all people that hold that belief to go hang out in different circles, because to me that shows me that you haven't been around different cultures enough. A buck, and this is coming from somebody that has been that. You can still be yourself, but there's just certain shit you gotta let slide. To your point, I used to rock a Michael Vick jersey all throughout fucking LA. Atlanta Falcons number 7 Vic just walking around trolling motherfuckers because in LA they be tongue kissing their dogs and shit. So I just wanted to aggravate them. Like I just want to needle them a bit. But I knew wearing that I wasn't gonna get no money. There's a cost to everything.
Right.
There's a trade off.
That's what it is.
I got no side projects going on for a reason. They're not fucking with it.
Oh man.
Just, man, great talking with you. 2 great conversations, Prince and the fucking Smack.
Right. This is great, man. I enjoyed it as always, man. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you. I think we both come to the agreement. It's bigger than that, Smack. There's all this other shit that's connected to it, and it just popped off with that. So maybe we can all think about things differently. A lot of people's comments are gonna make me think. I'm gonna think about them, and I appreciate people calling up for it. And I always love talking to you, the company man on everything.
Word up.
At John Z Matthews, at Kylo King. Shout out to Danny. Just like this, we go.